make the strings.
Oh! Hey, David.
What's up?
You look pumped.
Ready to go home?
David. But, yeah, Dave's gonna help me kind of get this thing setting in there at least. Frame and everything is looking really good, nice, pretty again. So I guess one of the things that, or a couple of the random things that are different with this thing is this one doesn't have like a temp sensor for the EGR right here. I don't know why that doesn't have it, but it, so this is the 11 motor, the bad motor right here, or a bad engine. So that has a temp sensor on it. This one also has a single EBP, like exhaust back pressure, like sensor right there. And it's kind of hard to tell, and you might not be able to tell in the video, but you can see how this exhaust manifold kind of comes up from the bottom and kind of swoops up and then over into like this little turbo thing. If you look at this one kind of starts further up the head and just kind of goes more direct into it. There's also an extra sensor right here. You can see there's the EBP sensor, but right here I think this was for another EGT sensor. I'm not sure exactly why, but it was like an M14 by 125, right? Something like that. And this is basically like a lug nut for a Volkswagen, and I just put a copper crush O-ring on there, or copper crush washer, and then cut off the bolt a little bit because it was a little too long. So that's kind of my, I guess, bolt delete kit. The other thing is the 15 does not have an additional, I think it's the fuel rail temperature or the fuel temperature sensor. I think that's what that one is, but it has this sensor. So you could see this one has these two sensors right here on that like return rail. I think that's the return rail. And this one only has the one sensor. So I guess one of the things I'm hoping, so I am doing like the EGR delete on this thing. And since it is the 15, I'm working with No Limit Diesel, and basically they're helping me kind of, you know, get lined up with the right tunes and everything on the SET. So it's basically, they're going to do like an 11 truck, but with like the 15, I guess, there's a little bit different tuning procedure for the 15 turbo, as well as the 15 high pressure fuel pump, all that stuff. And I think they kind of, I don't know exactly, but hopefully it doesn't throw any, you know, check engine lights or any issues with, you know, wanting like that fuel temp sensor is what I'm assuming it is. Also, the other thing is the turbo is way different. So on the 11, it basically kind of has this dual vane intake or like compressor thing. I don't know. It's really odd and really weird. I'd have to show you guys a diagram in order to kind of further explain it. But this one has a lot bigger turbo. So if you look in there, you can see all that kind of all that space surrounding the turbo wheel. Focused in there. You can see all that space. If we come over to here, this is the 15 turbo. You can see that's just a big old turbo. So this is basically the same thing as like a 6-liter like VGT turbo. This one is like a VGT turbo as well, but it's more complicated with like, you know, dual vanes and stuff like that. But I guess now is the issue of getting this thing off of the pallet, because we do not have like anything, I guess, to get it off the pallet here. So we're gonna try and set it down on some blocks and then raise it with an actual jack to try to get it up so that we could get the engine hoist underneath the pallet to pick it up with, so that we could actually set it into the truck. So I guess that's gonna be semi-complicated. I don't know, but we'll figure it out. Alright guys, so battery died on this guy. We were kind of having a little bit of a time dealing with this passenger side motor mount. It was kind of being a pain in the butt and not really letting us like set it down and stuff, so we ended up lifting it out of the actual slots in the frame and then bolting it in there. But then even then, it was like almost too wide, and so I ended up having to like grind down the motor mount on the edges so that it would slip up in the thing. I don't know why I did that, but yeah, I got all the torque converter bolts in, tranny bolts, all that stuff. Still need to do the starter, hook up all the fuel and things like that. But yeah, I think what I'm probably going to end up doing is draining the tank. You know, I'm just kind of a little sketched out about the whole, you know, tank situation with the fuel. So I got new fuel filters. I already installed the new fuel filter up here. Yeah, that's where I'm gonna leave it for tonight. I'm gonna come back tomorrow, and you know, I'm a little bit fresh. I've been kind of hammering away on this thing all day, pretty much ever since it was like 11 or so. Then just kind of got to the shop, and I didn't even do no decking off when I got here. I just started messing with it. So I'm pretty stoked that the frame turned out the way it did. And you know, now when you look at the truck and you see the bottom, you don't see like no gray, like brownish, rusty looking frame. You see just this nice, pretty looking thing. But yeah, so I guess to make this ramble short, we'll be back tomorrow. Yeah, the EGR stuff, I got that ordered today, so that should be in by the end of the week. You know, we are going on that little bit of a road trip, so I'm not sure when, you know, I was kind of planning on taking this thing, but I don't think everything's going to line up right away. But anyhow, should have this thing hopefully running tomorrow, but that'll be another video kind of hooking everything up, getting this thing all connected, and then hopefully taking it for the test drive, working through a couple of the bugs. So that should be the next video you guys see of this truck. But again, I appreciate you guys watching, and you know, if you, like I said, if this helped you out, be sure to leave a like or a thumbs up. If this is like 3 years down the road and you're doing this, and you know, this video helped you out, you know, be sure to let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I'm stoked you guys are stoked about this project. I'm pretty pumped. It definitely looks cool when you get the cab raised up in the air and doing stuff. It was honestly wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. It's fairly simple actually. But hey David, how many quarts of oil does this thing take?
It's like 5.
Okay. Hey, how much for that shirt?
Huh?
Okay.
Nobody wants this shirt.
Not the Dr. Pepper shirt.
Dude, the guy
Ty, where you been?
Snapchat. He's like every time you wear the Dr. Pepper shirt, I drink a 6-pack of Dr. Pepper.
Somebody commented and said they give David like $1,000 for his Dr. Pepper shirt. But anyhow, we are back here today, and what did I get done last night? Well, we got it set it in there, I painted the frame, all that stuff. Everything is pretty much ready to go. All I need to do is hook up a couple coolant hoses. There's like a coolant hose over here, and then hook up this like this front pulley system with you know, like the power steering pulley, all that crap on it, as well as like the front fan, like the big, where's the fan thing? Okay, got to put that big fan thing on it, and then it'll be ready to lower down. And so what I'm gonna do before I go too crazy with it is oh, I also have to put on the oil filter housing too. But before I go too crazy with it and hooking everything up, I'm gonna go ahead and basically just get it in there, get the base, like hook up the fuel to it after I change this back fuel filter. I don't know, should I drain the tank?
I just look in it.
Just look in it? How am I gonna, how can I look in it?
Oh, you have to pull it down.
Well, it has a water air or a water fuel separator. So, I mean, it was obviously running when the glow plug hurt itself, so I'll probably be all right.
You could just pop one of these lines off and hot wire the pump.
Yeah, well, it has the little drain thing on the bottom. But my concern was with the other engine. It has the, you know, it had a little bit of issues with the, you know, the high pressure fuel system. It had a little bit of like the metal and stuff in there. So I definitely don't want any of that stuff going through here. But technically, I don't know. Maybe it was over the course of its life or something like that. I don't know. Something was messed up with it though. But
maybe they never changed the oil because it looked like tar.
Yeah, the oil just looked like completely black. It was bad. But these new trucks with all the EGR crap on them though, it really messes up the oil on them. But yeah, nonetheless, I'm gonna go ahead and I guess put a couple things on and get ready to set this cab on it. And I also marked the tires on the ground so that basically that's center center of the axle and then kind of the edge of the tire, at least where I could get to it. So it might need to scoot over this way, maybe like a half an inch or so, and then in the back as well. But yeah, I figured, you know, marking it because I knew I was going to be rolling it forward and back to do all the pressure washing on it. But yeah, here we go. All right, so I ended up having to pull off the intake manifold because I have to swap this, basically this fuel rail sensor or whatever, that right there. I don't think it's a sensor, but that's that is basically there's like a sensor right there, and on the 15s it's only one sensor, which I think it's like a pressure and temperature sensor right there in the fuel rail. I think that, I'm not sure if that's the feed or the return. I think that might be the feed. And then you can see over here, this is the one off the 11 motor. You can see how it has two sensors. But the issue that I ran into is, so this is a 15 motor, but the issue is it was involved in like a front end wreck. So they replaced the front cover, I guess the valve covers, which is basically the intake manifold, and a bunch of stuff kind of around the motor, but you know, essentially like the short block and everything is all the 15 with the 15 turbo. But I guess the wiring got messed up in that wreck, I guess, or something like that. But anyhow, this has a 2011 to 14 engine harness on it. So over here it has these two sensors, those two guys right there. So it actually needs the 2011 fuel rail. So I went ahead and yanked it off of this motor, and I'm gonna put it back on this one. So hopefully that's kind of almost like a better case for me, because I am still going to be running the 2011 PCM, and I was almost scared that I was gonna have to buy a 2011 harness and do that. But I was initially pretty scared when I went to look at this motor. The guy, you know, the guy who's selling it, you know, like I said, he was a shop and basically kind of, you know, buys and sells these trucks and parts them out when he can. And you know, this specific engine, like I said, front end hit. You could see that's basically the only reason you could tell right there is, you know, it got hit, and then it pushed like this water pump kind of back and kind of mushroomed a little bit of stuff on the head. But I guess they replaced the whole front cover and everything. You know, the guy was super legit about it. He wrote me like a receipt. He gave me a 12-month, 12,000 mile warranty. And, you know, I told him, I was like, warranty or not, like that just sucks, you know, if I pulled this whole thing apart, put it all back together, only to have issues with it, you know, and then have to pull it back out and come get another engine and, you know, deal with that whole situation. I would just rather not deal with it. And he's like, well, he's like, if you put it in there and it has any issues, you know, at all, or anything, you know, mechanically wrong with it, he's like, bring it up to me and I'll have my guys replace it. So that's pretty much the only reason I actually went through with this motor. If not, I probably wouldn't have bought it. But you know, I guess you take your chances, and you know, it was a decent price for it, and you know, especially considering everything else on the market. But yeah, I don't know. And I got to keep my core too. That was kind of part of the deal. I worked with him because he had the price initially set at a certain thing, and I was like, well, you know, because of the whole issue with that, I was like, I'm willing to take a chance on it with the warranty if you let me keep my core, because I would like to play around with this this motor a little bit and kind of look at, you know, I don't know. It's just kind of cool to have one of these laying around and, you know, for parts, or let's say I get something down the road. But, and I could sell parts of it because I found like a crankshaft on eBay that was like $500 plus like $300 shipping. So I was like, well, maybe I can make some money off it. But anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and put that fuel rail on. All right, guys, so everything was going good. I got the fuel rail. This little fuel, I don't know, it's like, I guess you could call it a fuel rail. I got those in, so it has like the 11 sensors with the 11 harness and all that stuff. Got the fuel lines and everything all hooked up, the brand new fuel filter. I got the power steering thing on the front. Come over here, get to the back of the motor. You know, I worked past this thing, I got the plug in there. And what else did I do? That's about it. But the only issue, look at that. So the downpipe is like in its stock location, hooked up kind of how it's supposed to go. Like a little bolt that goes right there. And you can see that the downpipe just does not work. The other issue is you can see there's a, I guess you can't really see, there's a pretty big lip right there on that V-band on the outlet. And on the 11 turbos, it's not as deep. And the V-band just looks slightly different. So maybe just like a little bit smaller. But I don't know. I mean, if I grind it off like like that lip on the actual turbo. I could probably like rig it to make it work. But I don't know. So that's kind of disappointing because I was planning on basically getting this thing running tonight. Or at least trying to test fire it and all that stuff. But I guess that's still kind of the plan. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is kind of hook up, make sure that a couple more things are hooked up on this thing. I'm going to go ahead and set it down since the fuel is already hooked up on it. I think pretty much all I need to do is hook up the batteries and the body harness. And then I should be able to turn the key, crank it, you know, not hook up any of the accessories on the front, you know, like the water pumps or anything like that. That shouldn't really matter to get it, just to see if I could get it to fire off. And I guess that is going to be the goal for tonight. And then after that, I guess I can, you know, either leave it down or just, you know, lift the cab back up, but I'll probably just kind of leave it setting down. And then have to order a downpipe or see if I could find one locally. Supposedly, maybe the dealer can have one, or I could find one locally before, like, tomorrow, if I could find one in Denver tomorrow. Or I could talk to the guy who sold me the motor and see if he actually has it, and then maybe run up there and grab it real quick. But the other thing is if I'm going to, since I did order the EGR delete kit, I mean, I might as well just stay, like, you know, wait another day or so, another 2 days. As long as I know that it runs, I should be all right with that. And then just go ahead and do the deletes and all that stuff while it's here. It'll be a lot easier to get to the exhaust and all the random sensors and crap over here when the cab's off fit. So I guess I'm gonna continue working on it and see if we can get a run tonight. Okay, so we got it set down. Like I said, this is just kind of a loose test. I don't have anything hooked up as far as like coolant lines, water lines, serpentine belt, fan, any of that stuff. Basically right now is just going to be the first test to see if the thing even cranks, how it sounds when it cranks. I mean, all that stuff, if it even cranks. I have these body plugs plugged in. I have the batteries hooked up. I have the ECU plugged in. And I guess we'll see if she starts. Here you go, David. Don't eat.
I was gonna get some chips, some drink, because people are mad. What was that?
Probably the...
Is that the starter?
I didn't hit the starter.
What's that noise?
Fuel pump.
Sounds like it's dying. Why does it sound like that?
So I tested all the air in it. So I did like 2 fuel filters, the whole...
Yeah, but mine didn't sound like that when I did my fuel filters and stuff.
Yeah, but you're a high pressure fuel pump.
Oh! Yeah, tight.
I wonder why. I mean, I guess I was trying to unhook that one.
Were you?
Earlier, yeah.
Did it get you?
No.
Close.
I'm glad I wasn't in the
Line of fire?
line of fire.
Oh, it got your new cabinets.
Yeah, it did.
Oh, the new cabinets. I'm gonna stand over here though this time. God. And you said my G sounds like elephants. Bunch of pissed off elephants.
That's weird.
Oh, tight. Sounds like the motor on the exhaust is like doing stuff. Sounds like the motor on the exhaust is doing stuff. Yeah, I guess.
It said you're supposed to let the key cycle 3 times.
Yeah. No. And yeah, there it is. Huh. 3 times.
Look like it's leaking anywhere?
All right. See what happens. All right. You want to ether it?
Try not ether yet.
Okay. Well, it sounds like it's gonna blow up. Damn! Nice.
That's tight. Should it? No check engine lights either.
Huh.
Doesn't have any check engine lights.
It's crazy.
Damn, if we had a downpipe, we could go drive this son of a bitch.
Yeah.
That's so stupid.
Too bad that flange didn't work. We could have just welded something up.
I mean, I almost think if we like grind it off the back of the turbo.
Oh, screw that.
Yeah, because I mean, really, it just the 15 has a deeper flange like thing to it.
Probably needs it.
Probably because all the rip. That's tight. I want to see if it starts again. Was it putting exhaust out of this thing?
No, I was putting like exhaust out of the. It was just circulating around because of the. It was bouncing off the thing.
So yeah, I'm pretty stoked that it actually started pretty much first try. That was the second crank on it, like the second crank cycle. No ether, no nothing like that. So happy about that. I'm pretty bummed though because of the whole downpipe issue. Literally, if that wouldn't have been an issue and I wouldn't have had to swap a couple of the other things, the cab would have already been on it and it'd probably be pretty damn close to actually like being completely like 100% done. But you know, I am kind of waiting on the EGR delete and the exhaust and all that stuff. So you know, it might actually be, you know, a decent, I don't know, like kind of a blessing in disguise that, you know, I'm going to be able to essentially put all that stuff on, because everything under the hood right now is just super simple to just disconnect. It'll probably take me 10 minutes to unplug everything and get the cab lifted back up. And then, you know, at that point, it'll be super, super simple just to go ahead and just bolt on the EGR delete and all that stuff. And, you know, after that, put all the coolant in. But, yeah, super stoked that it actually runs. Sounds really smooth. I mean, it cranks really nice and smooth and fast. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens tomorrow. I'm going to see if I can find a downpipe locally. I don't know. We'll see.